Hello and welcome everyone to the Evolve podcast, supporting you to rise above all your limits, connect with the power of your soul, and give and receive more love in all forms. I am your host, Tanya Penny. I'm an occupational therapist, an intuitive guide, divine channel, creator of the 10 Evolve Keys, Release the 3 Ps, and author of the Connect with the Divine You book and journal. In today's episode, I am excited to be focusing on integrating your divine feminine, masculine, and being a divine parent to you and others as well. So I just want to start by saying that I've been wanting to do an episode about this for quite a long time. I've been teaching it probably for the last 1 to 2 years now in my programs. Many of my programs I've been weaving in the teachings. So it feels like we're at a time on the planet where this is really important information to get out there. And so I'm excited to be bringing this to you today. So whether you identify as a man or a woman, we all have both masculine and feminine parts of ourselves. And we are meant to integrate them and act from both of them, not just one or the other. And I believe it's one of our biggest missions, if you will, in this lifetime to be able to do this, to integrate what I call our divine masculine and feminine, and I'll explain that in a little bit. And when we integrate them, then as adults, we are meant to come out, and I want to call it being, when we integrate them, it's being, we are then able to be a divine parent to ourselves and to others as well, our children, our clients, our friends, etc. So growing up, now here's where it gets a little tricky, right? Growing up, most of us did not learn about this, our divine masculine, feminine. And we definitely didn't see our parents do or be this for us. Now, mostly we saw our parents or other adults acting from what I would call our shadow masculine, our shadow feminine. And you might have gotten some glimpses of the divine masculine and feminine, but definitely it wasn't talked about, and they probably weren't integrated. If, man, masculine. If you're a woman, feminine. There was no talk about this integration or having these be parts of us, both of them being parts of us. So let me first go to a little bit of definition. What do I mean by the divine feminine or mother? I kind of use that interchangeably, right? The divine feminine, the divine mother. Again, it doesn't matter if you have children, I don't, but learning to be that divine mother to yourself and then also to others. So some qualities of the divine mother are being nurturing, sensitive, sweet, supportive, gentle, cooperative, expressive, empathic, affectionate, emotional, kind, devoted, understanding, intuitive, receptive, compassionate, creative. Those are in alignment or considered divine feminine qualities. Now, when I say the shadow, that is most of you know what shadow means. It's the other side. We've got the divine side and the shadow side, the dark, the light. And the shadow side of feminine is victim, playing the victim, being insecure, manipulative, coercive, passive, and codependent. Those are considered to be the shadow qualities of the feminine. So next, the divine father or masculine. Again, being that divine father to yourself and then being able to do that with others. So some qualities of the divine masculine or father are strength, courage, responsibility, leadership, being action-oriented, logical, a provider, a protector, risk-taking, assertive, goal-oriented, determined, adventurous, loyal, confident, focused, efficient. So the shadow side, being dominating, a workaholic, craving power, seeking excessive control, being oppressive, disregarding the opinions or beliefs of others, being violent or abusive, volatile, ruthless, discriminative, greedy, arrogant, self-centered. So those are, those are some shadow qualities. And I don't know why, but they list a lot more shadow qualities when I did more research on this with the divine masculine. I'm sorry, with the shadow masculine. And I don't want to leave out comparison, like over comparison to others and a never enough attitude. Also in avoiding intimacy. Okay, so those are, an adrenaline junkie. Sorry, wanted to add that one in too. So those are the divine and shadow qualities of the mother feminine and the father masculine. And again, we're here in this lifetime to integrate, cultivate, integrate both of those within ourselves, and then being able to go out in the world and be that with other people, offer that to other people as well. So what I'd like to go to next, and this was going to be a part of my Trust Yourself key, and I decided to add it into this podcast episode on divine masculine feminine. So again, when we can have this integration of the divine feminine and masculine, I like to call that being the divine parent to ourselves and others. And you guys are going to get this handout as well. I'm going to offer this as well. I made kind of a list or life areas and what that looks like when we have these qualities and how then we bring it out into the world for ourselves and others. And we always want to start with ourselves. So one of the ways that we show up for ourselves as a divine parent is to physically do that. So what that looks like is physically, let me back up a little bit. How do you know if you're doing this for yourself? So I'm going to give you some examples. So you are physically showing up as a divine parent for yourself when you feel safe and secure with yourself. When you stand up for yourself and protect yourself with others when necessary. When you give yourself adequate and consistent, provide yourself with healthy food, clothing, shelter, medical care. When you are giving yourself enough time for sleep, rest, movement. When you allow yourself to receive the affection and touch from others that you desire. And again, these are things we want to provide for ourselves, and then we can go out and do it for others as well. So it's really hard, and some of you listening might be like, I know because I didn't know this before. Like you have children, and then these aren't things that you've integrated and have been able to do for yourself, and now you're trying to do it for somebody else. And that was the case for most of our parents, unfortunately, right? They did their best, but like my parents, they were babies. They were in their late teens when they had me. And there's no way they were doing this fully for themselves. And so they couldn't fully do this for me, even though they did their best. So again, you can even see within me naming all of these, which one of these might be divine masculine and divine feminine, right? The divine masculine, standing up for yourself, protecting yourself when necessary, providing food, clothing, shelter, medical care. And then the divine feminine, giving yourself adequate rest and sleep and allowing yourself to move your body and the affection and the touch, allowing yourself to receive it and then give it. So some questions I'll ask at the end, actually. Let's go through each of these areas, and then I'll give you some write and reflect questions. So emotionally, what does this look like emotionally to show up for yourself as a divine parent? You treat your emotions as important and valid. And then, of course, you do this for others as well once you do this for yourself. You show up for yourself emotionally. You acknowledge your emotions, you accept them, you try to understand where this part of you that's having the emotion is coming from, and then you support this part to release the emotion. You fully express your emotions with others. You have relationships with people who acknowledge, accept, and care about your emotions, who care about how you feel. So, and I'm going to say this one is probably more of the divine feminine qualities. But again, we're meant to have both masculine, feminine, and this is a really big piece for staying healthy and for healing the body, right? For healing and then maintaining health. Mentally is the next area, showing up as a divine parent for yourself mentally. Do you provide yourself with opportunities and activities to grow, learn, allow yourself to try and explore new things, to create, to play? Do you have like-minded supportive community? Do you have a like-minded supportive community, friends that you can grow and explore and play with? Okay, so that's the mental area. Spiritually, are you showing up are you being a divine parent for yourself spiritually? Do you believe in, trust, ask for, and receive support from something bigger, whatever you call it these days? Or is your something bigger punishing or loving, compassionate? Is it black and white or accepting, non-judgmental? Right? Do you allow yourself to explore your own spiritual path, or do you force yourself to do what you were taught growing up? Right? Do you allow yourself? Do you provide a safe space for yourself to explore your own spirituality? And again, we do this for ourselves, and then we provide this. If you have children or clients, you support them to do that as well. And the last area is financially. Do you meet your material needs? Are you able to provide for yourself and or receive from others? Here's the masculine, feminine. How do you do with managing and growing your money? Are you doing it in a way that feels safe, secure, honoring for you? Are you spending consciously for yourself or others? Do you have healthy money boundaries? And by that, I mean that you're not overgiving either to yourself or others at the expense or the detriment of yourself. So when you go through each of these areas, here are some questions to ask yourself. Growing up as a child, did you see or hear your mother show up for herself in these areas? So reflect on each area. As a child, did you see or hear your dad show up for himself in each of these areas? Did your mom show up for you in each of these areas? And if so, how? What did that look like? Was it shadow? Was it divine? Same thing. Did your dad show up for you in these areas? Divine or shadow? How do you believe given all of this has affected you showing up for yourself as a divine parent for yourself. Do you currently show up for yourself in each of these areas in a divine way? And if so, how? Lastly, how would you like to show up more for yourself? Be the divine parent for yourself in one or more of these areas moving forward. So I suggest we might all need a little bit of tweak in one or more of these areas. What I suggest after you go through this is pick the area that you'd like to focus on the most. Doing it all at once is, if you have several, could be very overwhelming. So pick one area where you'd like to show up more being that divine parent, the divine mother, father to yourself. And then, of course, you'll be able to do that more with others. So I hope that you've enjoyed this episode. And as always, feel free to share this with others that you think would benefit. Pretty much everyone on the planet can benefit from this information. And if you'd like more support from me, you can find that below this recording, video, podcast, however you are watching or listening to this. And I honor you and all the deep work that you're doing. And if you would love more support from me, I would love to be a part of your team, would love to be a guide for you, and wish you most beautiful rest of the day, month, and year whenever you're listening to this. And namaste.